Hi, my name is Tom and welcome to this short video from Mark My Words, in which I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience while working with the insurance company from Toronto, for which I have been doing an implementation consultancy on BigPicture. So let's get right to it. My trip to Toronto has been planned way ahead of time, so we had a lot of time to prepare for it, which was very convenient because by the way I got there, the people that I've been working with have already had quite an extensive knowledge of how the big picture worked, how it looked like. They also bought the pre-recorded training, so they had their materials to work with, which was pretty awesome. So by the time I went there, they already knew that they know big picture more or less, but they already saw the potential in the tool, and one of our main objectives was to help them discover the functionalities of big picture that they were not able to discover by themselves. And this is always such a huge thing for me, because I enjoy this moment when we are talking about things and people are like, right, I've never thought that we can use this functionality to do that, right? Or I never knew that this functionality even existed in the tool. And that's so true. I estimate that the companies I'm working with, doing the trainings for and the implementation sessions for, they mostly use 20 to 40% of the functionalities that the tool actually brings. So Big Picture is really a very robust tool. That's why it takes at least 2 working days to go through all the functionalities, and that's why people have so much trouble to actually reach the ones that they will feel most comfortable working with. So yeah, that was awesome. All right, but let's talk about some of the pain points that we wanted to tackle while doing the implementation session. So one of the main things was that they were moving from one Jira instance to another Jira instance, and they were actually moving from server to cloud, which is not perfect, but it is what it is. But because they were moving between instances, they now had a lot more control into the instance that they were moving to. And they wanted to use this control to set up this environment in a way that is going to allow them to work in the best possible manner, right? Which makes obvious sense. Then another challenge were the reports. They had reports that the executives were used to, and they really didn't want to change it. So we had to find a way of creating such reports out of the new Jira and out of the big picture that was coming to be installed on top of their new Jira. Also, we wanted to leave something after the consulted session so that they can work with later on when creating new projects for new business initiatives. And this is what I always try to leave after myself when I do the implementation sessions. So the absolute minimum is to create a template for the big picture program that later on they can duplicate or just use as a functionality setup guidelines for new programs. But this time we also decided that we are actually going to go a little bit further, and we're going to create a template for Jira project as well, because it doesn't happen for many companies, but here the case was that almost all the projects that were conducted in the company were conducted in a very similar manner. So it means that the set of steps you had to take in a project were very similar project to project. So we could create a template for that, couldn't we? Yeah. Right. And last but not least, we also wanted to make sure that we communicate our changes, our new setup to all the important stakeholders and involve them in the process to make sure that they feel comfortable with it. Because the department I was working with were not the only people that were supposed to conduct the project kind of work. And the reports that we were creating were coming from IT departments, for example, as well. So we had to make sure that everybody is okay with the way of working we are designing. How did it go? Well, as always, at least so far, it went pretty well. So we were able to tackle all the issues that they had. We've spent quite a lot of time on setting up the template and discussing how the Jira project should be set up. So this is actually something we haven't been able to finish when I was there. This is kind of like a homework I brought from Toronto to my home, because even last week we have still been iterating on how the Jira project should exactly look like, what issue types we need, what kind of custom fields do we need, what screens do we need, what workflows do we need, and so on, right? Permissions. And probably in the next week, we will start implementing that, also with the functionality that allows you to, on the cloud instance, copy the whole project from scratch. So that's one of the things we definitely did. Another thing is that we had to analyze how we can create the reports that were needed. And that was a challenge in itself as well, because the reports were very specific. And we looked into the exporter app for Jira. We looked into the EasyBI. But we also looked into the Power BI, which is actually a software they already had and have been using for the reporting purposes from other tools than Jira. But the Power BI has a connector to Jira too. So after checking it out, we actually decided that this is the one we're going to go with, because they already have it, no need to buy new licenses, and it met all our expectations and all our requirements. So seemed like a perfect way to go, but this still is ahead of us. So the report, again, is kind of like a homework. We still need to deliver it after the implementation session. Not everything can be squeezed into, a couple of days. We obviously finished with the template at the end of the week, both BigPicture template and the rough sketch of the Jira template that we are going to use. So I was very happy about this. We've managed to stay in touch with all the stakeholders, and I have to tell you that this is something that really makes me happy every time when people are coming in, listening to our ideas, the options that we have, and in the end they say, you know what, I'm totally fine with whatever you choose. We can work this way or we can work that way, as long as we for example, keep getting the important information to our executives. I'm happy to bend a little bit to adjust to your world. And this is so heartening, because I hate situations when people just focus on their part of the job and they don't look around and don't emphasize with their colleagues, right? They treat them as their colleagues, not as their partners in business. And over there, the situation was totally perfect, because everyone was completely open to new changes. There obviously were some discussions, but clearly I could see that everyone is aiming at exactly the same direction, and they were working together to get there. That was really great. One of the last things I want to mention is, during the last day of the consultancy, we always try to fit in the practice session. And during the practice session, it was almost like in every other practice sessions I do. People were like, I get it now. Now I understand now I really understand what we've been doing during the last couple of days and where it leads us. So this is the time where it clicks, where people finally understand completely what we're doing and where we are going. Right, so all in all, great days. I've, again, met wonderful people that I thoroughly enjoyed working with, and I will keep enjoy working with now remotely. Fortunately, I've managed to get back home before the breakout of the coronavirus, so I didn't have any adventures of my travel back. And yeah, the next couple of weeks, maybe months, I guess it's mostly remote work, but it is what it is, right? We have to deal with it. And well, at the end, I want to wish you all good health, and I want you to enjoy your days spent probably mostly at home, but even spending days at home can be fun. I will totally enjoy having fun with my family, which while I'm traveling, I don't get to see that much. So it's okay. Have a great day. Stay extraordinary. Take care and bye.